Hello, everyone. This is Two Hot Beans in a Pod, and this is Itzel.
And I'm Liz.
Thank you for being here with us. And today we have a very, very special guest that took the time to be with us, Mr. Peter. How you doing today?
Hey, thanks. Two beans in a pod. I like it very much that you have invited me on the show. Thanks.
No, we are so happy to have you. Yeah. Believe us, it's for us. It's a little step forward to us.
It's a big milestone for us. We've talked about having you on here for quite some time. So,
well, I really appreciate it. I was blessed and fortunate enough to be, part of your guys' lives as you guys joined our social system, which we've pivoted from our venture funded company. So it was great to see you on our original platform and get to know you guys that way. And if I may say, hopefully encourage you guys a little bit to continue this journey and continue to doing what you're doing. So I feel blessed to be able to speak to you guys because we're leveling up now. We're continuing the move towards greatness. So I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to be one of your first Zoom chat guests.
Yes, on 2020. We're so excited. We wanted you first on our first year.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about success and how to be more successful in life. So that's what we picked you because obviously you are very successful and you started with little things, doing here and there. And it's amazing to have you here.
Yeah.
My first question is, I know who Peter is. She knows who Peter is. We've talked about several people in our social life, and not a lot of people know about who Peter is. So that's my first question for you. Who is Peter Saddington? Yeah.
Oh, that's a great first question. It's actually not a question that most people ask, right? Like, who are you? And I think it's interesting that most people will inevitably move towards what you do as a moniker or kind of a visage or an idea of who you are. But what you do isn't who you are. What's inside is who you are. So who am I? I am a man who wrestles with the tension of trying to live my most authentic life, but at the same time, balance that between a diaspora of priorities that I have, like family time, spending time with my kids, my wife, right? So for me, I'm just trying to live as authentic as I can and help as many people as I can as I go. So that's who I am. Now, what do I do specifically? How do I do that? Well, how I met you guys, which is kind of a great introduction kind of foundation. How I met you guys is in the cryptocurrency space. So I had created multiple startups, multiple companies within the cryptocurrency space, and the final one ended up being venture funded. So we got seed funding, just under $5 million for seed funding for that. And what came out of that is a community product where I met you guys. And so I'm an entrepreneur by heart. So after that project, I've moved on. One of the things that I've always wanted to do is build my own venture capital fund. Now, what's a venture capital fund? A VC fund is a vehicle that is able to deploy capital or give capital to startup entrepreneurs and founders, maybe even like yourselves.
Yeah.
And so I've always been one who's been on YouTube and on social media, kind of encouraging and inspiring people and trying my best to help people level up. And I figured that instead of being kind of a socialite and being a YouTube personality, I could go bigger by putting my money where my mouth is. And so I would love to build a venture capital fund. And that's what I'm currently doing now. So I currently, on my YouTube channel, you can check it out, Peter Saddington. I do daily news every day on venture ideas, technology startups, where money is going, these types of things. And then on the weekends, I deploy another segment called VC Hunting, where I interview successful venture capitalists. I recently had Tim Draper on, one of the most influential, billion-dollar investor. And so it's just great to be able to be in this space as a place where I want to be. And so in terms of being successful under the context of our conversation today, one of the great ways of being successful is beginning to interview or beginning to talk to, you don't have to interview, but talk to people in the area or the profession or the market or the trade or the project or the startup. Talk to people that are already there. And they'll give you perspective of not only how they got there in their narrative and their journey, but you'll start to glean information as to how your narrative and how your story and how your trajectory needs to be built so that you can be where they already are. And so that's actually a meta play. So I interview venture capitalists. Why? Because I want to be one. And so what better way to understand the world that I want to be a part of by interviewing the most successful ones out there? And so that's a great tip for success.
That's awesome, because we are both really true believers of that. For me, it's like you can't go somewhere if you don't put your own effort. You know, you got to learn to socialize. You got to make the connections. You got to, you know, get their knowledge to get your knowledge.
Yeah, and ask the right questions. And really, it's about the soil that you plant yourself in. So if you want to be smarter, you got to surround yourself with smarter people and ask the questions.
Absolutely. I think one of the best traits, character traits, or you can train this in yourself, mostly by just shutting up. But you can train, one of the best character traits is merely asking lots of questions from people that are farther along the path than you, and being humble and just shutting up and just letting them pour into you. And so for me, you know, I don't mind kind of talking a lot and continuing to talk. That's what I do on a daily show every day. But as an interviewer, I love that as an opportunity to just shut up and just listen to someone else that's wiser, been down the road, can maybe save me not only a couple bucks, but maybe an entire period of suffering. And so gleaning information and pulling information out of them by asking really great questions will make you not only a better person, but it'll help you on your journey.
Yeah. And not just in a business but just as a person itself. It will help you become a better person, having a different perspective of how everyone else sees life, you know, of how everybody else lived their own story, and it's just how they got there. So you already answered like a bunch of my questions.
Right? Like,
well, what I feel is part of this is being what I appreciated, kind of watching you guys kind of blossom and grow into what you're doing now, is not only a beginner's mindset, but a self-learning mindset, right? And so I think so many, maybe this is culture, maybe this is just an amalgamation of culture versus society versus norms versus how you were raised and grown and birthed or whatever. But we were raised in a system that promotes this idea that education comes from a representative, right? Your teachers. And it was always a top-down approach, right? The teachers know, professors know, the doctors know, and you just listen. The problem with that is that what's ingrained in us is this behavioral pattern over our childhood into our early, mid childhood, teenage years to adulthood. Is this pattern of I just need to wait for them to tell me what to do. Right? I just need to wait for someone out there to tell me what I need to know. And so having a self-learner attitude means that you will always go and find information, not wait for information to come to you. I find it fascinating when people say stuff like, I can't get access to, or I can't. What are you talking about? All the resources for your success, two beans in a pot, both you guys, all of the ingredients for your success are already in the universe. They're already out there. The platforms are out there. The people are out there, right? The environment's out there. The market's out there. Market appetite, demand, right? All of this is already out there for you. You just haven't lived through it yet. You haven't grasped it yet. And so when people say that, hey, I can't, it's like, no. There's infinite resources, and all the resources for your success already exist. You just have a limited mindset, a scarcity mindset, and that you feel out of resources. You're just not being resourceful. And so going out, asking for interviews, asking for advice, asking for help is the best way to expand your horizon, network, and in reality, live out that trajectory of that goal or that dream that you want. So all the resources for your success, and this is what's so powerful, all the resources for your success and all the resources for my success are already established working systems today. I just haven't stepped in there yet. And so all I need to do is piece by piece, day by day, continuing to grow And one day I'll step into that new arena or that new market or that new relationship. And then suddenly, more opportunities, more growth, right? And so it's just, I'm excited about what you're doing. And I hope that was a helpful kind of a analogy for success.
Oh, it is. It is. And I listen to your podcast because you do so much, and it's really hard to keep track of everything you're doing. But I like your podcast, and it just, when we were talking about what we're going to talk with you, it caught my attention that recently, a few months ago, you talked about success in one of the podcasts. And the thing that I like so much what you said, because I have my little notes, it just says a fear, what fear really means. It's false expectations appear to be real. And that is so true. That is so true, because I feel, in my personal opinion, is that the only one that can stop you is yourself and your mind, and just you thinking you can do anything. And, you know, and we would talk about, oh, we're going to have Peter in our show. They were like, oh my gosh, like that's, I'm like, yeah, but if I was afraid to just reach out to you, I would just close the door on myself. I would close the door on us, on the podcast, or what we want to do and where we want to go. So it's like, I don't know. I thought it was like, wow, this is so cool, because this is exactly what we're going to talk about. And you said so much in that episode, and I was like, yep,
well, let's talk about that fear idea. I want to extrapolate on that a little bit. But first and foremost, your world needs to get, to be quite frank, your world needs to get a lot larger, because I'm not that special. I'm not that big. I'm not that much of a personality. It may be in the small world that you and I have been introduced through cryptocurrency, I may be, but I see you guys interviewing, and I see you guys growing far beyond me. So I'm just the lowest rung here, guys. So you've already established yourself. You can do this. But let's talk about this fear idea. I think it needs to be said that we're all scared. I'm scared. I have no idea what tomorrow is going to bring. I have no idea what the next week or the next month or the next year. I have been through, and I won't go into morbid details, but I've been through tremendous amounts of suffering in my life, where the entire world has been jacked on a 180 axis differently than what my reality was the previous day. And I've had rugs pulled out from underneath me, and I've lost more than just pieces of my soul in this world as I live and breathe. And so for me, fear is something that we all deal with. It's something that we all need to understand, and it can never be acquitted. It can never be removed, because there's always going to be the unknown. I think one of the best ways to overcome, and you kind of use the acronym there, fear, right? What does it mean? False expectations.
False expectations to appear to be real.
Right, appearing to be real. Where fear comes from is this idea of an unknown future. That's where it comes from. All of our suffering, most of our suffering, as opposed to the physical suffering, but I'd say we mostly suffer probably 99% of the time up here, right? Up in the mind. Rarely do we get punched in the face, rarely do we get squeezed. Maybe you guys punch each other. I don't know. But I mean, we 99% of all suffering is up here. And it's because we inject narratives and we inject stories of the what ifs, what could be, what could happen, let's go back to the past. What should have happened? Why didn't he? Why didn't they? Why didn't she? Right? Why couldn't they? Right? These are all narratives that we inject into our past and into our future. And I know, and just as well as you guys know, that the past is gone forever. It's never going to happen again unless you and I become billionaires and then we have access to time melding technology, which I think is out there. But let's not get into conspiracies too soon. So the past, the past is gone for you and I normies. The future, completely unknown. And if you really sit on this and meditate on this fact, then the only true place your mind should ever be is here in the present. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't make grand goals. I think those are really important. And I speak a lot about those on my podcast, the importance of creating goals and having grand visions for your future. I don't mind that, because those are positive ideas that should move you towards action. And so I don't mind that. But in terms of anxiety, worry, negativity, fear, It's all because you think of a scenario in the future or past, and then you inject a narrative of what could have, should have, would have, won't, maybe will happen. And what happens then is then all the suffering is up here, right? And then you get an analysis paralysis and you can't do your work. You don't pick up the phone. You don't write that email. You don't do that thing because you're scared, you're fearful. The only thing we have, sweeties, is today. That's all we got. And so I have to constantly battle that and remember that almost daily, that today is all I have. Put in a great day's worth of work today. Do a great job today because my trajectory is clear. And as long as I'm laying brick by brick, continuing the path towards those goals, I'll get there. I will get there, and you'll too, because it's going to happen if you don't quit.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who is struggling with that, though, with that fear? Well, how would you kind of like help them motivate?
Let's not think of the motivation just yet. Let's just sit and experience and understand that fear. So when fear rises up, or anxiety, let's use a different term, anxiety or worry, right? Which is generally how fear kind of manifests itself. Whenever you have anxiety and worry, sit on it, eat it. It comes up, right? Maybe you're working and you're doing something, suddenly your brain goes boop, and brings up this fear in the future for you. Just sit there and eat it. Sit there and eat it, and sit on it, and say, why is this coming? Talk to the fear, and that engage the fear in dialogue. Because once you engage the fear, because fear is emotional. Yeah. Once you engage the emotions with dialogue, which is rational, which it requires brain to heart to mouth, communication in some ways. Once you engage the emotion in conversation, it becomes a rational thing. And you say, why am I so anxious right now? Why am I thinking this way? And you say, oh, it's because I was hurt this way 5 years ago. And for some reason right now, I saw this thing and it triggered me to think about that hurt. And that is similar to a potential hurt that I could have in this next meeting that's coming up next week. And you say, well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because that was 5 years ago. And the meeting next week, you had a great conversation with them last week in preparation for this conversation. Let's go back, Peter, and read that email. I read the email. You know what? The email looked great. She had a really positive spin at the end, and she said she was looking forward to meeting me next week. So why am I bringing the past into my future? Why am I allowing that fear to suffocate me now when it's all false expectations appearing real, right? And so engage it with dialogue is how you deal with fear. Whenever it comes up, anxiety, worry, just engage it in dialogue, and then you'll be able to get over it sooner. And you realize that really, look, you're living and breathing. You're beautiful. I'm beautiful. The birds are still singing. We got a lot going for us.
It's true. Very, very true.
Yeah. You have anything else? You want to move to Bitcoin?
Okay.
Ooh,
yeah.
Cool. We're going multiple topics. Yeah.
Yeah, we are. So we know that you made some of your earnings from Bitcoin, but do you have, let me see. Sorry, I'm just like,
It's all right.
I have like quite a few questions because I'm still
knock 'em out.
trying to like fully understand it. For me, like Bitcoin so far is kind of like the stock market, but a little more volatile, I want to say, and riskier.
For sure.
Yeah. So one thing that comes up a lot is blockchain. What is blockchain?
Well, that's an easy question to answer. A blockchain is a list of transactions. That's it. That's what a blockchain is. It's a list of transactions. Think of it as a list of all these different numbers on an Excel sheet, just one cell by cell by cell by cell. What makes it a blockchain is that everyone can see all of those transactions.
Okay.
There you go. That's a blockchain. Blockchain is a distributed ledger. So let's use the real terms. A distributed ledger that is decentralized all over the world, and everyone in the world that is connected to that ledger can see all of the transactions. Now, some people might say, well, what's the value of that? The value of that is that since everyone can see all the transactions, then you can't cheat. And so it's a very different system from the previous systems that we are accustomed to and the current systems that we're accustomed to, in which people can cheat on the transaction log, and they can obfuscate, and they can filter, and they can make sure that people can't see what's actually happening. So this is a problem in finance. And so that's why blockchain has fundamentally changed the way that we can transact in the future and the way that commerce should happen in the future.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And we're talking about this because for us, that's a lot of people engage success with money and so that's what we're bringing the Bitcoin and finances into it, because a lot of people think being successful is having money in your pocket, having money, a lot of digits in your bank account. And it's like, it's a great thing to have because I feel like, it stresses you out less, but that's not what success is all about.
No.
Absolutely not. And I can speak from a position, right? I mean, you guys have seen the Lamborghini, you guys have seen the race car, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is a custom built, $1 million home. And I built the garage in my mind years before I even created it. And so it's just facts. I'm not trying to be, prideful or anything. It's just, this is what happened. This is what transpired. And so I can talk. I think I have the ability to speak from the worldly, standpoint of success. You got the Lambos, you got the Porsches, you got the race car. I mean, who the hell actually owns a race car? I mean, that's a percent of the percent that actually would buy a race car and then, drive it around. And so I can tell you that money doesn't equal success. Money certainly doesn't equal happiness. And I will say that money gets to a point where, in many cases, it actually is more of a problem. Just like Biggie Smalls said, "More money, more problems." He was right.
That's what I was thinking.
He was right. Come on. He knew the game. The more money you have, the more problems you have. And it is 100% true. And so what I have had to learn, being worldly successful with the cars and the houses and all that crap, what I've learned how to do is be able to dampen that effect on my life. And how that works is I choose who to engage with in the world that wants to leverage money success. People are looking to leverage me. People looking to leech off of me. People looking to be a part of who I am by association just because I look like I have money, right? The money in and of itself isn't bad. What's bad about the money success part is it attracts the wrong people.
Yes.
That is the real deal, is that if I've met a lot of, I know a lot of people that are literally next door neighbor millionaires and no one would ever know, right? Multi-millionaires. And they have learned in many ways, maybe because they're also not on YouTube or doing, social stuff. It's easier for them to be able to kind of hide their wealth. And they've been able to be successful and live in that world. Being on YouTube, it's hard, right? When I'm driving around in these cars and I'm streaming from my garage, right? It's so people associate this worldly success or this worldly stuff that I have with success, but it isn't. I'll tell you what real success is. It's really profound. What true success is, and this is what's so great, is because you can actually be successful every bloody day of your life till the day that you die. And you can always have a day of success. And what success really is a daily discipline to working towards a noble goal. That is success. Let me repeat that. What success is a daily discipline working towards a noble goal. My goals in life have changed multiple times, having built multiple startups, gone through acquisition, gone through venture funding, right? So my goals in terms of my life have changed multiple times. And so what has made me successful every part of that journey, though, is that I am disciplining myself to work for that goal. And because I'm working towards that goal every day, I have purpose. I have reason to live. I have reason to do. It creates reasons for my future. It creates opportunities that I never had. It opens up doors to people and relationships I've never met before. I mean, that is what success is. And so success is not in what you have. Success is a progressive realization of a noble goal. That's what it is. It's a progressive realization of a noble goal. And you will reach that goal if you don't quit. One of the things that I love to draw with my clients when we're talking about goals and these types of things, and when people get frustrated with, lack of progress, I always draw the same picture, and it's so easy. I drew it right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's a dude. See, now my light's acting up. It's a dude. Let's see if I can do that. There you go. It's a dude on a wall, and those are bricks. So it's a dude on a wall, and those are bricks. And I just draw that for him, and I say, "What is that?" And they usually say, "Oh, look, is it a guy on a net?" Yeah, no. He's on a wall, and he's moving one brick at a time. That's how walls are built. But eventually, the wall gets built. It always gets built. But you have to build that wall day by day, brick by brick. And so if you want to live a successful life, choose a noble goal and every day lay one brick. You will never have issues with purpose. You will never have issues with self-esteem. You'll have days when you get depressed. We all do. You have days when you get emotional. We all do. Anxiety, life, dealing with fear, right? Fighting off resistance every day, right? This is all true. But if you have that goal and the only thing that you can do is lay one brick today, that is purposeful work. And that will keep you moving to the very end whenever the wall emerges to be finished. I never know what the wall will end up looking like. I only know there's always an end point. There's always an end point. And usually that emerges when we've laid enough brick and we step back and we say, holy shit, we've grown something great. And that's why these people want to do business with us. Yeah. That's why this person wants me to be on the show. That's why they want to acquire us. That's why they want to partner with us. That's why they want to network with us. Because holy cow, every day it looks sullen. Every day it looks like we're not making any progress. But after many, many moons, many months, weeks, years even, you look back and stare at this large thing that you've created. And you'll say, wow, that's why. And I'm so glad that I didn't quit.
Yeah. And it's so easy to quit. It's so easy because especially when you're surrounded with people that, especially first of all, don't believe in what you're doing or don't agree on it. Or it's so easy, like you're doing, a brick one day at a time and you're like, oh, this is how it's going to look in my mind. And then people are constantly like, are you sure? Like, this is like, it's so easy to fall for it. And you got to tell yourself, whose goal is this?
It's
who's trying to get to this point? Who's building this wall? And that's one of the biggest things that Liz and I truly believe is like, we get constantly questions. We constantly like, oh, yeah, they're not really listening, or you guys are like, it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we get a lot of criticism on like what we're doing, but we know what we want for ourselves. And
Am I allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I just have to ask because there's sometimes I get riled up, and the answer would be a very Gary Vaynerchuk answer, right? A very Gary V type answer, which would just be fuck them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that opinions aren't valuable sometimes, but at the end of the day, I'm going to give you a conceit here. Okay, a very powerful conceit. Now that I'm closer to 40 than anything else. The powerful conceit is that no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what they're doing. The only thing that you can sort of know is a vision of a goal or a future of where you want to be, right? The best example I could ever give anyone is the example of me in this garage, right? I created this garage in my mind 3 years before I built this house and built this garage, right? This was a big goal of mine. It was actually a huge driving factor for a lot of my decisions leading up to the acquisition of my company and the money that I was making. And so like, this was a very powerful, very real, visceral almost And I almost feel like I could have touched this garage years before I even created it. And so that goal, that idea, that vision of where you want to be in the future is the only thing that you kind of sort of know. But at the end of the day, nobody knows how you're going to get there. Not even you, not even I. But where the universe is so fair, where the universe is so fair in this, is that the universe rewards you for not quitting and not stopping, moving towards that goal, even if it's one brick. And it's this whole idea of that, again, and I'm going back to this because I hope it's profound and powerful to your audience, is that everything that you want to achieve is already in existence. It's already there, right? If your dream is to be a NBA superstar and win the grand finals, there's already a trophy in production that could have your name on it. There's already a court. There's already a stadium. There's already fans. It all already exists. Okay. So for 99.99999% of all founders, business owners, everything that you have in the universe already exists. It's already there. So it's merely a progressive realization, right, of you acting out with intention towards this goal of something that already exists. And what happens over a long period of time is that you will end up getting there. And I have realized that my first startup, I'll give you a story. My first startup took me 9 years to build and to get acquired. I learned some shit in those 9 years. I learned a lot. I leveraged a lot of it for my next startup. My next startup, it took us only 14 months to get to over $100,000 in monthly recurring revenue. So I squeezed down 9 years into a 14-month period. And then in my third startup, within only 9 months, we had our best month ever at $53,000 of monthly recurring revenue at that time. Wow. And so I had squeezed down 9 years to 14 months, 14 months to 9 months. And, the project I'm working on now, I'm hoping I'm going to be making some money far faster than 9 months from now. But the whole idea is that your first startup might take 9 years to build. Could be. Yeah. I hope that you guys are going to be more, maybe faster, but maybe actually I shouldn't even wish that. Maybe the process needs to be the process. But here's the thing. The next thing you do, because you got a lot of life to live, the next thing you do will even be better. It'll be even more fantastic. And so, if I can encourage any of your listeners out there, it took me 9 years to get my first thing off the ground. I mean, 9 years is, I'd say, oh, Lord, please. The time goes by so fast. It goes by so fast. I mean, we're already in 2020.
I know.
I'm old enough to really actually remember 2010. Like, I was married in 2009. So I really remember 2009 and 2010. And I'm just like, how the hell did it go by so fast? And what have I achieved? Amazing things in the last decade. Amazing things have transpired. And so I think it's fascinating. We get caught up in the polarized notions of our psychology, which is things are going way too slow, but then at the same time, everything's going by ridiculously fast. The reality is it just goes by how it goes, and you just have to live it out.
That and be patient with the process.
Enjoy the process.
Yes.
If you can't enjoy the process, then you shouldn't. If you can't, literally, and I know Gary Vee, I remember watching Gary Vaynerchuk talk actually against this, but he says so many contradictory things that he's just a hype man. I don't think he's actually good for a lot of advice. But I am not a big fan of the old idea. What did he say? I just forgot. Just forgot what he was going to say. All right, it's going to come back to me. But you caught me in a rut right now because I went off on a tangent.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll remember in a second. Ask me another question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is my personal question, because since now we're trying to get involved in the, getting knowledge more about cryptocurrency. How did you get yourself into cryptocurrency? Like, how did it come to you? What made you want to learn about it, or
Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Well, This isn't hard to find online because I was the first person in the world to buy a Lamborghini Huracan with Bitcoin. So I think we had reached over 300 million views on all these different places like GQ, Yahoo Finance. I was on Russian TV, Korean TV, CBS, Maxim, right? Motor Trend. I was all over the place. But to answer your question, the short story is that in October of 2011, I read an Ars Technica article. Now this is an old magazine that dates way back. It's a technical magazine, and in October of 2011, I read this Ars Technica article talking about how this cryptocurrency, that this technology stack essentially had lost like 90% of its value, and I was intrigued. I was like, how can a technology stack, because I'm an engineer. So for me, it's like, how can a technology stack like Java, or a technology stack like C# or C++ or Perl or ActionScript or PHP, like how can a technology stack lose value? These things don't have value. They don't have actually intrinsic value. It's what you use them for to create value. You create apps, you create applications. And so I was so curious that this protocol system had lost all this value. And what I learned is that it's more than just a technology stack. It was more than just a protocol. It was actually a financial transaction layer. And it was actually a store of value as well. And so people were investing in this technology stack. That's like investing in Java or investing in PHP. I don't think there are any mechanisms to do so. And so that was so curious to me that people could invest in a technology stack. And so I went down the hole for like a month. And I think I lost weight. I was reading just incessantly. I was going into the dark web to learn about how to transact in Bitcoin, and kind of the security issues around it. I mean, I went deep because that's how I am as a self-learner. It's like, I need to learn this stuff myself. I need to find out this information. I can't wait for someone to tell me. I need to go learn what I'm interested in. And so I went down the hole for a month. And then in early November, I bought my first Bitcoin for $1.52. And so I learned about it super early. I ended up spending way too much Bitcoin on the dark web, which is foolery because that Bitcoin's worth a lot now. But I continued to learn in it. I continued to invest in it and leverage it as a kind of a side chain to PayPal to get things that were from the dark web. And so I'm not going to be dishonest about it. I mean, yeah, I transacted on the dark web with Bitcoin, spent way more of it than I should have. But I finally got involved in Bitcoin after I had gone through my first and second startups. I felt like I needed to start building again. And it was in 2016 that I actually began really seriously taking Bitcoin serious as a potential profession and a potential idea to build and create value and build wealth on. And so I did. And so in 2016, I started doing YouTube and talking about cryptocurrency, interviewing people, learning as much as I could around it. And in a period of a year and a half, I had built 6 applications in the cryptocurrency space. We built the Bitcoin.pub, which is still around, Crypto Yum, which was a news reader, Coin Puffs, which was a coin market cap competitor. We built 10 Days of Bitcoin, which is still up, 10 days of Bitcoin.com to learn about Bitcoin. We built B90X program, how to kind of improve your life using Bitcoin and cryptocurrency philosophies. And so I built all these applications in the cryptocurrency space. And the last one, we ended up getting venture funded, which is this one, yen.io. Which is a community system for Web 3.0 social media. So it's going to integrate all of the social media that you have into one system, and also potentially have cryptocurrency functionality as well. And so that ended up getting venture funded. So that has been my journey in cryptocurrency. It's been a wild one. And since then, I pivoted into beginning to build the foundation of a venture fund right now. So that's what I'm doing right now. But yeah, various different interests over time. But Bitcoin is a very, very close to my heart, because it changed my life during a period of time where it was necessary for me to do a really big pivot and completely do something new. And there's fear in that, but for me, I have to kind of kick myself off the cliff to do things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had you never taken the plunge in the first place and taken the time to know what it is. I mean, hey,
It was a life changer for you.
yeah. It was.
Cryptocurrency, there are three things that there are a lot of things that have changed my life, but in terms of my profession, Agile and Scrum has changed my life. That was my first startup, building Agile and Scrum. So Agile and Scrum is a framework for helping companies build software faster. That's all you need to know about that. And then cryptocurrency was one. And then my entire experience in the venture capital space was another life-changing thing, because I've created entire companies around these ideas, Agile and Scrum, cryptocurrency, cars. I built a car app as well. So I spent time doing that. And then now venture capital. So it's wherever my interest is where I dive into. And actually, this is probably a meta play for this context of success, is that wherever you're interested, whatever you're interested in, you can literally make money in that interest. You just have to dive deep into it, begin networking, talking with other people, all the stuff that we've talked about. But the reality is, whatever you're interested in, remember, the reality is that already exists. There are people that are actually already making money doing that thing that you want to do. And so it's only a matter of living it out and tracing back the trajectory that you need to have to get to where you want to be.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of like Elon Musk. That's kind of like how he started with SpaceX, is that he is so into space that he just dove deep into it.
Absolutely. I mean, people don't look at Elon Musk, but as someone that could be considered frenetic in his decisions for what to focus on, and kind of all over the place. But I would say that in many ways I'm built just like him. He's just far more successful, clearly. So he gets interested in these ideas like solar. He gets interested in these ideas like mapping. He gets interested in these ideas like cars, electric cars, and space. And then it eventually becomes this, it starts off as like this side chain for him, and then he just puts all his focus into it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's okay to have multiple careers, multiple interests. I think I'll tell you a fear. We were talking about that earlier. I think a big fear, and this is something that I think everyone out there just needs to remember. One of your biggest fears are always going to come from your family and friends.
Yeah.
Of disappointing them, of not living up to their expectations, all of that bullshit. Okay. Throw that out of your mind. Your mama's opinion don't matter. Okay. Your friend's opinion don't matter, because, and let me say this and be abundantly clear here. The reason why your mama, your daddy, your brother, your cousin, your sister, your friends, why none of their opinions really matter is because none of them are going to work for the life that you want. Only you can build and work for the life that you want. And since you're the only one that has to do all the bloody work to be where you want to be and to do what you want to do and to find that success that you want to have, you have to shut off and turn off everyone else's opinion. Because when anyone ever offers me their opinion on what I'm doing, if they think it's wrong and you know what, they might be right. But for me, I have to live that out that failure. Yeah. Your advice is duly appreciated, but I actually have to fail in what you say. I'm going to fail and I probably shouldn't do it. I'm still going to do it because that's how I learn.
Exactly.
Right. And so you have to shut all of that out. A great counter I've used a couple times when people have given me flack, especially those that are relatively close to me. I said, "Oh, are you offering to help me?" And then they say, "Oh, I'm not interested in what you're doing." Well, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you don't even know what I'm doing.
like seriously,
yes.
The best response to anyone that gives you flack is, "Oh, is that an offer to help?" And when they say no, you say, "Well, then
shut the fuck up."
Yeah, there you go. But
shut up. You're not right.
I definitely will say that I am like the black sheep of my family, because I had that mindset early on. It's like, well, I mean, this isn't your life. Sorry, Mom. I understand that this doesn't go with tradition, but I am who I am, and I guess I'm against tradition at this point.
And the world will reward those who are willing to step out and be the black sheep and do the things that we're doing. That's most, in my experience, if you want to experience the entire spectrum of humanity, if you truly, and this is where 99% of the world will not do this. But if you want to fully understand the broad spectrum of humanity, make a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Make a YouTube channel, because you'll find people that will leave comments that say, oh my gosh, that was the best shit since sliced bread. You changed my life, Peter. And then the next comment will be, Peter, fuck you, die. I hope you get cancer. It's like, now I know exactly what the human spectrum is possible, you know. And so if you want to become a hardier person, if you want to become a tougher person, make a YouTube channel and make videos for 365 days straight. And you will receive comments that could crush your world. You'll learn to live without them. And you'll receive comments that enlighten you and inspire you. You'll have to dampen those, because their comments don't mean anything either, right? If they, no, seriously, so you have to look at it, and it sounds selfish, but it's very Ayn Randian. So Ayn Rand is a lady, a philosopher of sorts, who the philosophy of self-interest. And so it's AYN, Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand, she, in her philosophy of self-interest, she always said, and I really appreciated this from her, is that she always said the best way to live is selfishly. The best way to live is with self-interest. And you might say, well, what does that mean? Well, what that means is that every action that I am taking benefits you and benefits me. And it's the responsible action, right? And so you're always considering the cause or the cause of the harm that you could do. But let's not be deceived. You're always working towards selfish interest, which is good, because when you're truly living from self-interest, which is, I'm going to do this good for you, I'm going to also receive, and I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to deceive you about it. I'm receiving from this. This is great. I appreciate the benefit that I receive from this interaction, this transaction, right? What I love about that type of candor about life and self-interest is that when you look at everyone else and you engage with the haters and the naysayers, or even the positive ones, you'll say there's interest that they have. They're self-interested. They're trying to placate themselves, or they're trying to soothe the hurt, or they're trying to project their negativity on you. They're just being selfish, just like me. And so when you turn it off and you realize that everyone's just working for themselves, even mama, come on, mama. I know, mama, you have a plan for my life, but let's be honest, mama, you don't think about me 99% of the time of the day. So for you to tell me right now that you think I should do this, the only time you thought about me was right now, mama. So you didn't spend the rest of your time thinking about my life. That's me. I'm thinking about my life. So let me do me. That's the answer.
Let me fail.
You have to be successful. That's
every successful man or woman on this planet has a trail of dead bodies and a trail of failures behind them, except ESPN and CNN and all the mainstream media. They're not the only talk about, oh, you had some tough times. That's how they conglomerate an entire 30-year career of non-success. And then the 10 years of success afterwards that they actually were ridiculously successful. They'll say, oh, your first 30 years of doing this were tough times. Unless but I mean, come on, that's the grind. That's what it takes to be successful. That's what it takes to live out your purpose on a daily, is you have to do it every day. And I always like to say that the overnight successes, it just took them 20 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, we are so happy to have you. Thank you for your time. And, whoever's watching this, remember, success is all about what you can do. You have the power to success and where you want to go. So thank you for watching. And thank you so much, Peter Saddington, for being here with us. And hopefully you come back and be in another episode. Yes. We have so much content for you. And
I'd love to. I'd love to help out. I think it makes the world better. So thanks so much for having me on your show.
Thank you.
And remember, this is 2 Hot Beans in a Pod.
I'm Liz.
And this is Itzel. Until next time.
Bye.